One major difference between senior dev and junior dev, no be just typing speed. Junior developer fit dey type like say keyboard or money. Senior engineer fit sit down for like 20 minutes, no even touch the computer at all. You go dey think say e no sabi wetin e dey do. Meanwhile, for inside im head, e don reject 3 bad approaches already. E don already discover 2 serious security problems and even predict the outcome of wetin e be dey plan to do. So senior engineer, my guy, they no slow. You no just no one use code take discover wetin thinking go help am discover first. Many developers start project like this, open VS Code, create folder. They go install like 17 or 17 different packages. Then they'll go ask, wetin we dey build again? I don't finish with the boilerplate. That is not software engineering. Now digital gambling, and you they do. Today, make I show you how to structure your logic before you write one line of code. Now, me and Spikings the tech prophet. Oh, yeah. They with me. Imagine say they tell you, say, you build a cost payment system where students can pay with installment. Junior instinct just say no problem. Before you know, you don't pay, you don't create payment controller, payment service, payment repository. That's there no plenty way they even structure like this. You don't create payment model. Everywhere don't get folder, but actual business model never get sense. Senior engineer go ask things like who they pay, wetin then they pay for. Can one student register for many courses? Then go fit pay in installment. How we go take know the remaining balance? Can payment fail? Can payment provider send the same confirmation twice? Can admin manually record cash payment? Wetin go happen if person overpay? Can payment also be refunded? You dey see as the question dey many. Because that questioning stage though, no be waste of time. Oh, now there the engineering dey happen. Because you need to know that code is only the interpretation of your thinking. In fact, it be like translation. If your thinking dey confused, now so your code go dey confused. So before you dey ask, say, which framework should you use? Ask wetin must happen successfully. For that payment example now, the main outcome fit be a student makes payment, a system verifies it. The payment is recorded once. The balance is updated correctly. The student receives confirmation. Then admin can now audit everything later. That one, na happy part, sweet. But senior thinking, they stop for where everybody they appeal. Them go ask things like what can go wrong, just like the things I list earlier. Network fit fail, payment fit succeed, but webhook no arrive. Webhook fit arrive twice. So you begin to see say just create payment endpoint, no be complete logic. So break the problem into steps. Let me give you something like this. You write the flow like human language. Confirm say student and course registration they exist. Calculate the expected outcome. Then create pending payment reference. Send the request to payment provider. They write down now. Even me, they read them for you. Record payment only if that reference never processed before. Update the balance. Store an audit record. Send confirmation. Then return clear response to the user. You see am? Now you see say your code don't get direction. Every function get just one job. Every step get reason. So instead of one controller where they validate that data, now you go still call payment API. Now you go still update database. Now you go still send mail and maybe possibly toast your boyfriend or girlfriend for you. You see am? Make sure you separate responsibilities. Now so you they see say messy scripts go come begin go they turn into maintainable system. Then think about data before functions. You hear me? Data before functions. Before you write that payment process function, so ask things like this. Which data does the process need? Does it need things like student ID, course registration ID, amount, currency, payment reference, payment method, status, timestamps? Also, who recorded it? You go need to also ask which rules must always remain true. Payment amount no fit be negative. It cannot be negative. Process reference must be unique. Balance no go fit reduce twice for the same payment. And then only authorized people can edit and view record. All these rules, they're more important than that your folder structure. Because beautiful architecture with wrong business rules na nonsense, actually. Also, use AI, no go give them your brain. So use them, but no hand over your brain, give them. Because of course, it can generate syntax very fast. You fit tell am now say make e build payment service with clean architecture. It go produce the controller, the service, the repository, everything. You go even add one readme join. But AI no know your business automatically. If your logic vague, AI go generate rubbish for you. So because in this AI era, logic syntax is now cheap. Now clear thinking now it don't expensive. The valuable engineer no be the person who fit type code fast. Oh, now the person who fit define the correct problem, expose hidden assumptions, and then go review whether the generated solution actually makes sense. Also, simulate the system. Before working or before coding, run this workflow inside your mind. Student pays once, what happens? Payment fails, wetin go happen? Confirmation arrive twice, wetin go happen? So senior engineer no necessarily know every answer before coding, but they know they rush enter implementation with empty head. Them go define the outcome. Them go ask questions. Them go identify inputs, even rules and failure points. Them go break the workflow into smaller responsibilities. Them go even trace how data they move. Now they go still decide what thing must happen together and what should happen separately before they go consider the right code. So next time when you receive project, nobody just ask which language should I use or which framework. You need to know what exactly are we building first. Which rules must not break? Which data they move where and there? So start to use VS Code as your thinking tool. Bye.